What's up, you guys? It's Adam Hume here with another 5 meaningful minutes, and I'm up here in Billings, Montana. We came up here as a family yesterday to hang out with our extended family here. I have cousins here and uncles here and all that sort of stuff. And so beautiful Montana's beautiful country, big sky country as they call it. Hey, I apologize for maybe the quality of the video today. I'm having to shoot in selfie mode out here and the sun shining, but it's got a great picture of our subject of study today. And last night we were walking into downtown Billings and we crossed these train tracks, and my brother-in-law Anders was like, oh man, this would make a great 5 meaningful minutes. And I was like, oh wow, and I thought about it while we were eating ice cream, and I thought about it last night when I got home, and this morning I was even thinking about it again. And trains are something it's not really a wonder like it used to be nowadays. I mean, many of us don't even think about trains a whole lot, except for my brother-in-law Travis, who works for Union Pacific, a train company. But we don't really consider trains a whole lot. But I think that for today, for these 5 meaningful minutes, trains can give us a picture for how to stay on track and how to move forward in our spiritual lives. What am I talking about? If you think about trains are moving forward. They can move one direction, they can move straight, and they can move backwards, and they can curve a little bit, I guess. But in order for a train to move, it has to be on track, and it has to have these two things, these 2 tracks right here. It takes 2 tracks for a train to move. Without one track, the train would be utterly useless. If there was damage to this track and there was a section of this track that was out, the train would not be able to go anywhere, and all the valuable goods and products that the train was carrying, they would be stuck. And so what can these train tracks help teach us about how to keep moving forward in life, how to get to our final destination, how to be successful in life, and how to make sure that we're unstuck? And as I was thinking about these 2 train tracks, I thought, man, what would be 2 things that would benefit or that could make sure we're on track spiritually in our life? And I thought about Matthew 22. Jesus is talking, and he's talking to some people, and this teacher of the law comes up to him, and he says, hey, Jesus, what's the greatest commandment? What's the greatest commandment, Jesus? And Jesus looks back at him and says, hey, listen, the greatest commandment is this: you have to love the Lord your God with everything, your soul, your spirit, your strength. You have to love God with everything. But then he surprises everybody, and he says the second is like it. You have to love your neighbor as yourself. And I think Jesus is giving us the key to life, because he says this afterwards. He says, all of the law and the prophets, the whole Bible, rests on these 2 commandments. If you want me to summarize the whole Bible, Jesus is saying it comes down to these 2 things: loving God with everything and loving your neighbor as yourself. And I think those are 2 great tracks to make sure that we are always on as God's people. Are we loving God with everything? And are we loving our neighbor as ourselves? Think about it. Jesus is saying you can't have one without the other. And if you want to be spiritually successful, you have to make sure you're doing both. Because if you're just loving God, but ignoring God's people, being unkind to God's people, being rebellious towards God's people, harboring bitterness and resentment towards God's people, then you're stuck in life and you're not on track. You're not moving forward. Now, if you're loving people and you're serving people and you're being nice to people and you're forgiving people, but at the same time you're being disobedient in areas of your life, you're not considering God in areas of your life, you're not consulting God in areas of your life, then you're stuck. You're not moving forward. You're not spiritually on track. If you were to ask a railroad conductor which side of the train track was most important, he'd look at you and go, what? They're both vitally important. You can't have one without the other. And if you were to look at Jesus and say, hey, out of those 2 commandments, which one is more important? He would look back at you and say, what? They're both important for staying on track in life and making sure you're spiritually successful. Well, hey, thanks guys for watching these 5 meaningful minutes. I hope you have a great day.